This program is proudly brought to you by Telecom Limited and Daytech.
Good night, Papua New Guinea. I'm Malcolm Wyra, and welcome to another episode of Infocus. In this session, we are joined by the Sister Cities International Partnership to discuss its activities in Papua New Guinea. Joining us for discussions, we have Dr. Saro and Mr. Carlos Capua from the Sister Cities International. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Firstly, could you give us a brief background of your individual roles within the organization?
So I am a councilwoman with the City of Long Beach, and we have just signed a letter of intent with the City Port Moresby with the City of Long Beach to do a letter of intent.
And my name is Carlo Capua. I'm the incoming chair for Sister Cities International. We are a nonprofit based in Washington, D.C. We have over 400 U.S. cities as our members that represent 2,000 partnerships worldwide, and the mission is bringing the world together one friendship at a time.
Now, Carlo, could you give us a brief historical background of how the concept of Sister Cities Initiative came about?
Sure. In the early 1950s, President Dwight Eisenhower, he called for greater peace around the world. He was a war general during World War II, and he saw some of the worst that humanity can bring out. And he thought, one day, we never want to have war again, so how can we lay the seeds for peace? So he created this idea of Sister Cities International, thinking that people could exchange letters as pen pals or visit each other. Mayors could visit one another, students, dancers, sports figures, students. So through that, we could build slowly a foundation for peace.
Now, Dr. Saro, Sister City Partnerships is a form of citizen diplomacy. What makes such initiatives more effective than traditional forms of diplomacy?
It's effective because it's people to people. It's not the government telling people they need to build a relationship with another country. This is based on interest, connection, cultural exchange, as well as trade delegation on common areas that we are interested in to learn from each other. It's an exchange of experience, perspective, as well as contributions that we may be able to make. And I think that that is what's long-lasting, is that the committee and the groups, the sister city from each city, are the ones that create the program, and they're the ones that also ensure that the connections are made and deepened within our respective cities.
Okay. Now, Carlo, which cities and provinces in Papua New Guinea will the U.S. Sister Cities Initiative be partnering with?
We are so excited. We are working with 3 cities here in Papua New Guinea: Port Moresby, Lae, and Madang. And we have 3 cities in the U.S.: Long Beach, represented by Dr. Saro, Charleston, South Carolina, and Poplar, Wisconsin. So we have been almost like Cupid. We're doing matchmaking, and we're connecting the 2 cities together. So hopefully next year we'll have all the mayors come and sign official sister city agreements with all 3 cities.
Are there plans to expand this program?
Always, always. So if you are watching this and you are a city in Papua New Guinea interested in partnering with a U.S. city, reach out to us. We would love to consider finding you a partner in the United States.
Dr. Suli, what role do you see sister city arrangements can assist Papua New Guinea to overcome some of its development challenges?
Absolutely. So in any development challenges in any city, whether it's in Papua New Guinea or in the United States, is about learning and receiving ideas about how to address pressing problems. And sometimes some cities are better at doing it than others. There are things that we don't think about that we want to consider. And that is where the opportunity comes from. While it may seem like as a developed or the United States have everything figured out, we don't. We think we can learn a lot from the citizens and as well as the people, especially young people in Papua New Guinea, that can share their experience, their understanding, and their culture with us, and we can also do the same. So that's why I don't think that we can make an assumption that anybody knows more. As much as there's different development stages, there's never a lack of ideas that can help us grow and do better. And for us as a city, we enjoy and appreciate and honor diversity and culture, and that's where we always appreciate having more and learning about Papua New Guinea, since it's a country we don't know very much about.
Okay. What would you imagine as some of the major challenges confronting cities, not just in Papua New Guinea, but all over the world?
Well, one of the areas that we're really interested in working with youth as well as other experts in Papua New Guinea is around how do we address climate change. We are a coastal city, and we are very concerned, as many of the Pacific Islands, particularly Papua New Guinea, around sea level rising, as well as many other environmental challenges that are being faced around natural resources. And that is where that is one of the issues we like to work, have a committee, work with a committee here, possibly with the University of Papua New Guinea, possibly with the Nature Conservancy, Nature Park, in where we can exchange ideas and work on pressing problems together.
Okay. Are there plans to perhaps utilize sporting diplomacy within those programs?
We hope so. So that's one of the great thing about having a letter of intent. It's a formal way where we can start to explore concrete ideas and how to exchange a culture or exchange activities. In the United States, we don't play rugby, so it'd be interesting to learn about it, as we play football, U.S. football, not soccer in the United States. So that's an area. And we have the upcoming Olympics in 2028 that we will be hosting with the city of LA. And so we hope that there'll be an opportunity where we can host a delegation Papua New Guinea in some way, whether it's cultural presentation or athletic opportunities.
Thank you, Dr. Saro.
Absolutely.
We now go for a quick break. Join us on the other side for more discussions. Welcome back. You're watching In Focus. Now, Carlo, what do you hope to learn from Papua New Guinean cities?
There's so much that we could learn. My first trip to Papua New Guinea was back in 2001, and it was like opening up a National Geographic magazine and stepping right into the pages. One of the things that I've realized is we don't learn much about Papua New Guinea in the U.S. Maybe a little bit about World War II, but really many people don't know much about this country, which is a shame, because Papua New Guinea, I've learned, is the most culturally and linguistically rich countries in the world. I think over 850 languages. You have the leatherback turtles laying eggs on the beach, which is something incredible. You have amazing places like Sepik and Wewak, and where I went, the Wadia Valley in Motobe Province. There is so much that we could learn. When you think about it too, U.S. history is not that old. We're 250 years old, so we think that's old when you think about something in the 1700s or 1800s. But then you look at the history of Papua New Guinea, and it's tens of hundreds of thousands of years old. There's so much that we could learn from the idea of unity and culture and a common framework that brings your country together, and that's something that I hope many others from our country can come and experience here in PNG one day.
Now, Dr. Saro, can you share any successful stories or examples of sister city arrangements from around the world which we could draw from to apply in Papua New Guinea?
Absolutely. We have 9 sister cities around the world, and our oldest is with Yokkaichi, Japan. And we just had our mayor sign a renewal agreement with the mayor. He went over to Yokkaichi, Japan to sign and renew the vow of being a sister city, and that's been a successful program because we've done student exchange programs. We've also have regular programming that members of the committee host in the city of Long Beach to provide education to residents in the city. We also have it with Cambodia, Phnom Penh, Cambodia, which is homeland of where my family comes from. And that has also been successful in being able to host delegation to increase understanding on the needs of both countries. So those are some examples, but we have 9 in total that's been really great.
Are there educational programs involved as well?
Yes, absolutely, which is why we're very much interested in signing a letter of intent here with the University of Papua New Guinea, because education is very important to both countries. We know that it's a crucial pathway to success in life, and we think it's also a rich experience for our students to be able to come here to Papua New Guinea, as likewise in the other way too. And so those are all common programs we do. It's kind of our top 3 that we do in all of our sister cities program.
Carlo, how engaged are the original indigenous communities of cities participating in the sister city arrangement?
This is one thing we've been most surprised and delighted to find, that we do have local diaspora communities in our own cities. I know whether it's Tonga or Kiribati or Tahiti or Micronesia or Papua New Guinea, we are looking and learning about the genetic makeup of our cities in the U.S. And like right now in Long Beach, they're starting a PNG committee where they're recruiting people from Long Beach who are either very interested in PNG or maybe have some ties to PNG. So it's funny that the deeper you look in the community, you can find natural ties, and it almost makes it seem like it's destiny for our U.S. cities to be partnering with these cities here in PNG.
Thank you, Carlo. We now go for a quick break. Join us on the other side for more discussions. Welcome back. You're watching In Focus. Now, Dr. Saro, with the advance of internet and communication technology, it has vastly improved the connectivity among cities and across borders. What sort of impact do you think this will have on sister city partnerships?
It has a major, tremendous impact in improving communication. Not only before we were able to hear each other's voice, now we're able to interact with each other virtually as we have conversation and meetings about engagement and programming. And that has made a big difference in the way that we're able to connect with each other and really think through about how do we think about programming, but more than anything, being able to build relationship even when we're not physically in the same room.
Now, on a personal note, drawing from your experience as an immigrant or descendant of an immigrant communities, how has that informed your perspective of sister cities partnerships?
It has really shaped the way that I think, not only as a resident and a person, but also as a council member, and what I'm able to do to champion diversity and culture and tradition. So I'm a Cambodian American. I came to the United States when I was 2 years old. My family survived the genocide in Cambodia and lived in refugee camps for a few years before we arrived to the United States. And I grew up in a way where it's not a traditional American upbringing. It has similar struggles as many who have probably grown up in PNG or other parts of even the United States. So there's a perspective that I have around being in tune and the needs of how do we help people improve their life, empower them, as well as how do you get on a pathway to becoming successful. Education is a big part of that, which is why I have a doctorate in it. And how do we set up process and system for success? And I have a lens of being bilingual, being of a community that is not exactly part of the U.S. fabric, and how do we work with each other and be embraced in a country that is very diverse and that knows very little of Cambodia. And I hope to do that with PNG, is having that perspective of how do we do that with a country that people don't have very much knowledge or awareness of, and I can do it in a thoughtful way that can ensure that there are strong bridges built.
Carlo, how important are youths in this particular arrangement?
Well, the youth exchange program is what I'm most excited about. I was a youth participant in a Sister Cities program back in 1993. I was 15. I remember meeting students from around the world, and my world was this big. And after that 2-week program, my world was really expanded. I've seen hundreds of students high school students go through these exchange programs, and they meet their peers from the other side of the world. And it's amazing the impact that it has. We see almost every student who comes through Sister Cities through high school, they end up either going to college, they major in international affairs, they'll study abroad, they'll learn another language, they'll do something that shows that experience has left an indelible impression in their heart. And some people, after they graduate, they'll live in another country, they'll work in another country, they'll become truly global and truly international and pay it forward and get the next generation of young people involved when they're in high school too.
Okay. How can prospective cities or municipalities around PNG participate in the sister city partnerships?
I think it's looking for areas of mutual interest and shared opportunity. For example, our most common exchanges are through sports. We'll bring a rugby team or a soccer team to the U.S., or maybe we'll bring a dance group to PNG. We're signing partnerships with Unitech in Leh and a Charleston Southern University in South Carolina. We're also exploring a partnership with the University of Papua New Guinea and Cal State Long Beach. And so there are plenty of opportunities, especially in the virtual world. There are lots of opportunities for these institutions to create their own micro-connections and own partnerships so their students can really be involved, and it can be life-changing for them also.
Dr. Suli, Saro, and Carlo Capua, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
A letter of intent, the sister city relationship between Papua, Wisconsin and Madang, Papua New Guinea. Congratulations, Governor. Thank you.
Thank you, my name is Damien. I'm the head of public affairs from the U.S. Embassy, and I'm representing the embassy and the U.S. government at this very important signing of the intent to partner between these two cities. If I can just take a moment, first of all, to thank Justin for bringing us all together today, and of course to thank the Honorable Governor Pariwa for being the first to engage in this incredible act of citizen diplomacy. For context, in 1956, President Eisenhower held a conference at the White House on citizen diplomacy, and the capstone of that was to launch what is now called Sister Cities. And today, Sister Cities brings 500 U.S. cities in partnership with 2,000 cities around the world in 145 countries. What President Eisenhower did and what every president, our current president, has done since is to highlight and promote what we call citizen diplomacy, which is basically every citizen is an ambassador of your country. I am an official U.S. government representative, but every citizen is also an ambassador. So Sister Cities brings together citizens to promote everything from peace and harmony, social inclusion and prosperity, promoting resilience in the environment and democracy. What's important about this initiative is that while most Sister Cities partnerships are organic, this partnership was driven by the White House. The White House at the U.S. Pacific Forum Summit in Washington, D.C. in 2023 in September launched what's called the 7 for 70 initiative. And the 7 for 70 initiative was the White House recognizing the need for more Sister Cities partnerships in the Pacific and promising that we will form at least 7 new Sister Cities partnerships in the Pacific by the 70th anniversary of Sister Cities, which is in 2026. So the United States intends to form these new 7 Sister Cities partnerships in the Pacific. 4 of them will be in Papua New Guinea, and we already have 3 who have agreed to move forward. So Madang and Poplar is one. Leh and Charleston, South Carolina is another. I flew to Leh last month, and we have had many meaningful discussions on that initiative. And then Port Moresby and Long Beach, California, which we have also met, and we have had virtual calls, and that initiative is moving forward. So these 3 Sister Cities partnerships, which were launched by the White House and have been pushed forward by the National Security Council and the Embassy, are very important to helping every Papua New Guinean become an ambassador of their country.
Well, viewers, that ends this episode of In Focus. Do join us again next week, Monday, on our regular time slot of 7 p.m. Till then, bye for now.